Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're doing some F Tier Fridays. But for this F Tier Fridays, I might be revisiting a hero that we've kind of played in the past. And what I'm trying to figure out here is like, what do I want to play actually after Zen leaves? So Zen is probably slated to leave in the next couple months or so at this rate. I don't know. It kind of depends how well he does in this last kind of week of RTNs, but I'm assuming he's probably going to be sticking around for at least like a month or two. And if that's the case, I kind of want to figure out kind of like a backup hero to play. So I have all of the heroes kind of listed out here in a tier list. This is also kind of like an informal tier list. Like I actually, there's some things I like strongly disagree with on this tier list now that I'm looking at it. But I kind of just like slapped this together just because rough power levels of heroes just to kind of like get a sense. But I wanted to kind of look at some heroes and kind of like identify which heroes I probably won't play and probably will play just based on like my personal play style. So let's go ahead and kind of get into it. All right, so this first pass tier, I kind of crossed out all the heroes that I'm not super interested in playing because they're kind of like very linear aggro decks. I know I've included Dio in this, but Dio is also to some extent a linear aggro deck. And the reason I like Zen is more so for like the kind of like clever sequencing things, the high agency, the kind of back and forth gameplay. So I'm not a super big fan of like the way that like Syndra and Aurora feel to play. Kind of similar thing with Dio. Azalea also kind of has that weird just like play all your cards kind of feel to her. Similar thing with KO and Boltyn, and then I've also kind of crossed out like Zen and Viscerai down here because we're Viscerai's already gone, but Zen we're kind of assuming is gone as well. For this next pass of the tier list, I've kind of crossed out decks that I am not a fan of just because they're assassin. I'm not like super big on the assassin playstyle, but what I will say is like Marionette is like kind of fun looking, but like still just kind of like has that weird assassin problem where you're basically just trying to like spam out reaction. Like I don't know. I'm not a super big fan of like the assassin playstyle right now. I think Slippy I'm gonna leave on the list because I think Slippy is like a little bit more interesting than Marionette. Maybe that's actually the opposite. I don't know how I feel about these two heroes, but I feel like Slippy has like a little bit more aggression to him, so it kind of feels like it's almost like a different niche than Mario. But if like New's sticking around, then Slippy gets a lot worse just because Slippy is a symmetrical effect. So I'm kind of leaving these around just because I think Slippy's a little bit more jank, and I'm kind of a fan of jank, so playing Slippy is a little bit more appealing to me than Mario. For this next segment of the tier list, I've crossed out basically any hero that is in F tier, so I'm not a person who's like super set on playing like only the S tier and A tier heroes, but I generally think that if you're playing like an F tier hero at like a rated event, you're probably playing to lose a lot of time. And then, you know, most of these heroes belong in F tier, as you can see here, especially this one. But yeah, like I'm not a big fan of these heroes, and also like Vince said, it's probably like B tier, but still, I'm just not a big fan of like these heroes' playstyles, except like Katsu and Bravo because they're kind of like the OGs, but they still just don't have the support to kind of make them worth playing. For the orange X's I put here, these are kind of like the more uninteractive heroes that I don't really enjoy playing. So like Enigma, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of her playstyle, and then Kano as well. Also, like I actually like Kano's playstyle, like I don't mind playing Kano, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm necessarily like the best pilot, especially if I'm like trying to keep track of stack or like trying to play with Kano just seems like a nightmare a lot of time in terms of like the mental exhaustion in a tournament. So I think these two decks are probably decks that I won't really play just because for playstyle reasons, basically. And for these last couple purple X's, I put these over decks that I consider to be like just linear mid-range decks, which I'm also not a big fan of that archetype. So these include like Warriors and Dory. Dawnblade Dory I think is a little bit more interesting to me than like Saber's story or Axe Story is. Saber's Kasai is like kind of boring. I don't know. These are decks that I'm just like, I think that they're just kind of like mid-range piles, which I think that there are better mid-range piles in the game. So I don't know if these decks are necessarily all that good. And I think that pretty much leaves us with like all the heroes that I would maybe consider playing after Zen rotates. So we have like Fang here. Like Fang I think is also not really my playstyle, but he's like I don't know if there is actually, for what it's worth, a deck that's going to fill the role of Zen. Like I think that the closest decks to Zen right now are like Prism, Ira, Acilio, and then maybe Max if Max gets some juice out of like the Armory deck. Like maybe those are like the three decks that are like most similar. I think Fi also might fill a similar role, but I think Fi is just like a worse Syndra at this point. So I don't know if Fi necessarily fills that slot as well. We also have some kind of like more control-y decks as opposed to like Zen. So we have like Jarl and Verdance and like Florian. I could see myself like playing those. I also used to play a little bit of Victor, so Victor would probably be like pretty comfortable for me as well. And then Riptide, I don't have all the cards for Riptide, so I don't like play him normally, but I played him a couple times, had a lot of fun. So if he gets some new support in like the new set or whatever, he could probably be a cool hero to play as well. So these are kind of like the main heroes I'd consider as well. Also, Levia, if she ever gets good, maybe I'll play her. But like, she kind of feels like she just has like a lot of consistency issues. But these are probably like the decks that I'd actually consider like playing after Zen leaves because they feel, at least in my perspective, like either a similar play style to Zen or they kind of just have a lot of like interactive play patterns that I think I enjoy in the game. So these are probably what I'm considering. But for today's F Tier Fridays, what I actually want to take a look at is Verdance. So we played Verdance on a earlier F Tier Fridays, and I kind of made a bunch of jokes at her expense, like that she's bad and whatever. Like, I don't think she actually got a ton from the Hunted, but she did get the one ring. So apparently people have been doing actually like pretty well with Verdance list, so I kind of want to try it out today. I've been testing a lot on my own, and Verdance has actually been kind of a fun hero to just play on the side while I'm also playing Zen. So anyways, I wanted to take a look at some of the better Verdance lists that are out there and try to play some today. So this is Arthur Trehay's Battle Hardened list. I think he got second at the Barcelona Battle Hardened, and it's a pretty fun list. I've been having a lot of fun just like playing this on my own, so I kind of wanted to play it on the channel today because I think this is actually like not an F tier list. Like this is a very, very solid list that's very efficient at doing what it's doing. It's probably also one of like the better lists I've seen specifically into Zen, which I think makes it very interesting as a Verdance list. Like I don't think this deck beats Zen regularly, but might be kind of pilot dependent. But I think that this deck is like pretty competitively viable, does pretty well into like Syndra and stuff. So I wanted to give a shot on the channel. This list is pretty spicy because you're basically running, I think, 9 Rootbound Carapaces, which is kind of cool. And you're basically using that to kind of synergize with like the Nourishing Emptiness, so you can like banish a bunch of attack actions from your graveyard and then like play Nourishing and then get the Dominate +1 intellect ability, which is really strong for like cycling towards like your power cards like Ring of Roses and like Rampant Growth Life and stuff like that. So the deck is like very cool, very lean, and just a very kind of like defensive deck, which I kind of like, and also has like a lot of like combo kill potential. So one notable thing that's like missing from this list is like Surgeon Aethertide, but I've kind of like come around to the idea that you don't necessarily need Surgeon Aethertide. Like it maybe helps into like some like CYB matchups or like slower matchups, but I kind of like the idea of like mono Waiting Moon just in terms of like practice when I was trying to kind of play test this deck for myself and try to learn like what the kind of play patterns are. So I think Arthur Trey has maybe like given like a couple of interviews at this point about this specific list. I haven't really like watched them. I've kind of just been having fun with the list. But yeah, I wanted to play it for F tier Fridays. This is definitely not an F tier deck. This is probably like an S tier deck. So who knows what F tier Fridays even means anymore? Maybe I'm just trying to eat my words from previous F tier Friday. But I've been having a lot of fun with this list. This is definitely in the contention of lists I would play after Zen leaves, maybe depending on the meta. But yeah, this list is pretty cool, and I wanted to give it a shot on the channel. So let's go ahead and get into some games. All right, so we're playing against a Marionette. I think I want to go second against Marionette. And what do we want for board? We probably want these mental blocks and probably also the Calming Breezes just to block some daggers. And then what do we want to cut here? The Nourishing seem pretty good. I'll give them a good luck, have fun. We probably want Crown. Yeah, Crown seems pretty good. Barkskin also seems pretty fine. Metacarpus seems alright as well. What do we not want, I guess is the question. I've been cutting these red overflows. I don't know if that's correct. Could also see cutting like Plow. Yeah, again, I'm kind of learning this list, so I don't know necessarily how to correctly board this list. I haven't really paid for like Patreon or whatever. But yeah, this seems relatively close to what I would do, I think. All right, we got AV3 Spell Void 3. Very interesting. So we probably want to go ahead and try to deny the mark this turn. I think we'll go ahead and block with like Sigil of Earth here. I feel like I'm kind of just fine to like fill my graveyard just so we can like maybe get a felling off here. I don't know if that's right. But like we can just like double block this, right? And like what are they gonna do? They can like go off an arsenal or like send a leave note at me, but we don't really necessarily care about that. Now we just get free decompose, which I think is kind of worth it. Okay, what do we want to do here? So it's a little bit awkward because with the if we want to like develop at the felling, then we're having to bottom like the pulsing. And I guess we arsenal sigil. I don't even think that's necessarily that bad. Maybe we just want to get the decompose on early. And it's kind of a baby felling, but maybe it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world here. So banish those, and then we'll put the pulsing on the bottom. Putting pulsing on the bottom is also pretty good if we want to try to go for like a reach combo kill. Or it's just good to, it's a good target for like Storm Striders to have on the bottom of our deck, I think. AB3 is a little bit scary here, I'm not gonna lie though. Slightly concerning. But I think with this package, like we're not trying to like combo kill them necessarily. We're basically just trying to kind of like tempo them, it feels like. All right, so we have pain in the backside. I think we're supposed to probably just block this. Ideally, don't want to block with pulse, or with heartbeat rather, if we can help it. We're probably gonna get marked this turn, but we might as well just like try to put something in front of it to prevent it. All right, I don't see an incredibly strong reason to give them mark. Oh, you know what we also could have done? I think we could have also waited for the damage to apply and then sheltered to prevent the ping from the pain in the backside. That could have also been an option, but I guess now we're just taking the mark probably. All right, Tarantula Toxin's fine. I guess we now want to probably just de-react that, right? Oh. Seems pretty good. All right, I do want to be a little bit cognizant of fatigue here, but maybe we're fine just gaining 6 life. Unfortunate that we can't really use Waning Moon, but I kind of maybe set myself up for failure by blocking with the Destructive Aethertide. Could have gone like Destructive, pitch the Heartbeat for later into something. It's definitely an option. All right, Pain in the Backside coming in again. I feel like we probably just want to... Do we have to block this? We probably don't, or do we? So the problem is we don't have the way to turn Nourishing on because we don't have our Root Balance yet. We've already used one, I think. Then we got Destructive, we got the Fruits. I guess we'll maybe just block with Destructive. I don't know. I feel like blocking Pain in the Backside is like fine. I feel like we have to worry mostly about fatigue this game, especially with like the AB3. Right, seems like they're gonna take this opportunity to flick the dagger at us. So I'm kind of curious how much dagger recursion they're gonna have, because a lot of what I've seen against like Marionette is that at some point they almost like run out of daggers to use if they like kind of aggressively. I think we had a video recently where someone like wasn't running like pick up the point or like the upsticks effects, and they just kind of like ran out of things to do. All right, I think we'll say no block on the pick up the point and let them clear the mark. And then we'll just save blocks for whatever the last thing is they do. All right, so coming in with a Mark the Prey. Again, we can't really use our Nourishing here. We don't really even want to like Arsenal any of this. Yeah, this hand kind of sucks. I guess maybe we want to like Arsenal Nourishing. Maybe we just let them have this. I can see letting them have this be correct. I mean, what if we just like Heartbeat, Waning Moon, Discard Fruits, Arsenal Nourishing? Because I think Nourishing is like a pretty good threat in this matchup. I don't know. All right, they get Orb Weaver, which is like kind of whatever. All right, so using a Heartbeat like this feels kind of rough. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, and then we'll play the ability on the fruits. Get some nice little life padding there. We have Crown for like a leave no effect or something, so not super concerned here. Alright, some very weird hands. Very, very verdancy hands here. Alright, we got Mark of the Black Widow. So notably, this does not pump anything. I mean, we can't play the tree anyways, so we might as well just like block with it. I guess the hand kind of does not do anything. I guess it's like pretty good at preventing some damage for what it's worth. Let's go ahead and respond, I guess, with the D-React version of Shelter. We do want them to clear the mark, but we don't want them to obviously like hit with mark. Alright, I suppose we will now play Calming Breeze response. This is kind of getting a little bit silly. Like, we might just end up getting CNC'd after this, which would be kind of funny. But, like, we couldn't block a CNC realistically anyways. I don't know. Ooh, Schism. Okay. Getting a random card. Sure. I almost want to just, like, discard this Calming Breeze just to get it out of my deck. Alright, Orb Weaver Spinneret finishing on Codex. What do we get back? We get back, like, a Mark of the Black Widow or something? I don't think we really care. Maybe, like, kind of care, I guess. So we can just Calming Breeze this, I guess. Sure. And then I guess they at least clear the mark here. So maybe this isn't all that bad for me. But that hand was kind of like trash, if I'm being honest. Maybe the Calling Breezes don't actually come in against this hero. Maybe we just wanted the Plas instead as like extra threat density. Could see that being the case. Alright, still no Decompose. It's kind of rough. We have so many we have 8 root bounds in our deck still. Oh, we did cut the plows for what it's worth. Maybe we're not supposed to cut plows. But I feel like I've seen some people play this version of the deck and also cut plow. So again, I'm not a Verdance expert here, but I feel like I've seen people do that. All right, no blocks on the Clave. We'll take it here. All right, so they're going to flick a Clave at me. That's fine, I think. All right, into an Upsticks plus a Kiss of Death here. The sequencing on this is kind of interesting. So they hit, they get go again. So maybe we don't want to risk blocking this yet. Maybe we'll just let them have this. Rather save my blocks in case they get like a CNCer here. I think we're kind of just fine with them clearing the mark. Ooh, Take Up the Mantle is a pretty good one. What do they have here? All right, Mark of the Black Widow is pretty solid. So we'll get go again. We have to banish a card from our hands. Might as well banish an Earth card, right? Just fill up that graveyard. All right, and no follow-up here. So we kind of are sandbagging extra blue here, but I'm kind of okay with that in case they had like a, what do you call it, a Codex or something at the end there. So I guess what we can do is just pump the Pulsing Aether Life and then just send Waning Moon. We will not pay, send that. Just send some good chip damage at them. We'll find our root bounds eventually, I think. Hopefully. All right, no blocks from them. Send to the moon. So life total is still like pretty even here for what it's worth. All right, we find a root bound, which is excellent. into the clave. All right, yellow toxicity also spicy. How do we want to block this? So we don't have bark skin yet. Maybe we just do fruits plus root bound to cover the 5 here. I mean, they're pretty likely to like hit us, but next time you hit a marked hero with a dagger this turn. So we should try to block this, I think, right? And then if they flick the dagger, we Calming Breeze in response. And then we also just root bound. So let's Calming in response to the flick. Pass here. Let them flick. See what happens. So they take the prevention. Then they have toxin as well. So that's pretty good. So that means that they're probably going to follow up with something else, and they're not getting a card draw here. So maybe we're kind of okay just taking 5 here and getting the mark. It seems okay to me. So we want to prioritize getting rid of our attacks, which are only felling at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's only felling. Or it's felling into fruits. Oh, and we're gonna have another fruits in graveyard too. Ooh, that's kind of awkward. I'm wondering if I could have managed that a little bit better. But we still have 1 prevention floating here, and then we have the root bound as well. So we're not in terrible shape yet. We might actually just have to play this nourishing for no value, which kind of sucks. Kind of unfortunate the fruits lined up that way. Or I guess we could have also like chosen to discard off the fruits, but I was kind of like intent on trying to block the Saber Bloodshed. Maybe that was wrong though. Yeah, because if we don't discard the fruits there, then we're basically setting ourselves up to not nourishing. Okay, I think that's a minor punt on my end. I think we probably should have just gone for discard fruits and accept that we're taking the damage there. Because then we could have banished 3 attacks and been fine. But unfortunately, nourishing's not going to give us any value here. Yeah, I think that was definitely the play of discarding fruits instead of blocking with it. I think my idea was that we were trying to like fully block out the dagger, but we didn't need to if we had the Calming Breeze, right? Because we can just prevent the flick and prevent them drawing off the mark. All right, go ahead and pass here. It seems like they have a shelter. That's fine. At least we're putting a rampant on the bottom, which is good. So we're trying to cycle to that eventually. All right, find some more decompose, which is also very welcome. I think that the blue root bounds are kind of like cheeks in this deck, but like they're kind of necessary to like do the nourishing thing, is what it felt like from my kind of play testing. But I think there's definitely like a build of Verdance that you just run without the blue root bounds, and I think that's probably maybe even better. All right, so I think we might actually be using our mental block here to block the pain in the backside hit. It's kind of spicy. So basically taking like 3 vanilla damage, we prevent the 1 off of it. So we'll get the hit trigger. In response to the hit trigger, we mental block. Mental block is also a pretty solid card in this deck, just because first of all, the prevention effect, and second, a lot of the cards that you're like drawing off the top, you actually are kind of okay with arsenaling. There's like Blue Emeritus, like there are definitely some bricks like Blue Such, Blue Fruits, like Blue Emeritus and stuff like that, but there are a lot of 0 costs that like you don't really mind arsenaling. All right, I think I'm probably just wanting to develop out the tree here instead of root bounding. It means that we're going off decompose for turn, but maybe that's okay. We still have a lot of root bounds left on the deck, so I don't think it's super necessary to block this. I feel like there is, like, for what it's worth, a lot of complexity to this deck. All right, they have the red back. That's fine. So worst case scenario is like Codex here. Yeah, that's bad. Ooh, yeah, that's bad. Okay, it's not the end of the world though, because we can now just root bound and get up to 8 decompose and then get like a felling back or whatever. Okay, that's not terrible actually. Wait, this is actually fine. Oh no, we don't have the felling. Shit. Oh no, it's still fine. We get nourishing. Discard tree. Then what are they getting? You get a mark of the funnel web. You can flick a clave, or no, they already have the thing at me. Do we have an attack in graveyard yet? Oh, we still have the blue fruits. So it's a little bit awkward here, but I think we're still just sending the nourishing at them. So let's block with Bark Skin and then Rootbound decomposing to 8. We get to play the nourishing, and then we also get a Ponder token, which is real nice. So I don't think this is that bad for us. The Codex here. All right, play that. We're only getting 2 value here, but I think that's still okay. We're only getting 1 value off the Spark Skin, but sometimes 1 value is decent. All right, let's go ahead and banish the fruits. Banish Rootbound, and then we want to banish an Earth card, so we get to 8, so we'll banish. I guess a tree is fine. So the Nourishing will come in for 5, so unless they have a Reactant Arsenal that they randomly drew off the top with Ponder, we should be pretty good to hit with this normally, I think. They block with like Flick Knives and React from hand if they really wanted to, but then they're losing out on, their kind of best equipment at this point. So maybe that's fine. All right, no React off the top, please. Thank you. All right, so we get our nice little 6-card hand here. For what it's worth, one of them is going to be a random card in Arsenal, but like we have Crown still, so like we can fish it away if we need to. All right, so Ponder. It's a little early, but maybe it's still just fine in case, like, if we always need to like press the panic button, maybe it's fine to just like crown it away. All right, no reason to block here since we're already marked. All right, they have Toxin, which is whatever. We go to 12. And it's not the end of the world here. Still just have a ton of cards in hand, a ton of resources. One thing I will say is that it seems like our Ring of Roses is a little bit late this game, but not much you can do about that. All right, finishing on the leave now. So I guess the question is, like, we could use Storm Striders here, but it feels probably wrong. Could also double block, and that's also probably fine. We could also just use a Crown, though, and just, like, get rid of it and get a different card, but then we're kind of, like, feels like we're, like, wasting some resources there. So what do we want to do on our turn, I guess is the question. Like, block 6 here, but then we're losing out Pulsing, which kind of feels bad. I feel like there's not a lot of, like, super appealing options to me right now. Maybe, like, Bark Skin plus this is, like, the most appealing thing. It seems like maybe okay. Then we get to Arsenal, like, Healing Pot or whatever, and just send, like, a big Pulsing Aether at them. So they shouldn't have... I guess they could have, like, a Razor's Edge here. Or no, Razor's Edge is only stealth cards. So I think it's probably safe to block like this, and we can save CNC for a later leave node, potentially. I think this is okay. I think I'm just going to use this Rampant Growth as, like, a tempo Rampant Growth, as opposed to, like, setting up, like, a big combo or whatever. All right, they're getting a Trapdoor, which is not going to do very much on this turn, just because we're not sending an attack at them. But this kind of seems okay to me. All right, so we're going to Sigil first, gain some life. Verdance Trigger. we'll have this deal arcane damage. That seems good. All right, they're opting to take it. Let's do a rampant growth. Let's do both modes. We get a Verdance trigger here. So this is going to amp 4 in total, I believe. We will have it deal arcane damage. Yep. Right, and then we'll go ahead and send pulsing for the pulsing Aether side. And then how do we want to split this? Do we want the damage to actually be on the pulsing Aether or on the waning moon? Which is better? So it's we can do 6 and 4, or we can do 8 and 2. I feel like it doesn't matter a whole lot. I feel like it doesn't matter is maybe my answer. We can Arsenal this healing potion, and then we can potentially crown it away if they go for like a CNC or a Arsenal Disruption effect. All right, find our ring, which is good. The problem is that we're drawing our trees with like our all red hands, which is kind of unfortunate. All right, so if they hit us here, they will draw a card, which we don't want. Part of me does just want to like crown our arsenal away, but it's opening us up to Codex real bad, and they do have 1 left. Are we like fine getting Codex though? Maybe we are. We have a Nourishing that we can just get back. And do we have any other attacks that we have? I think we have another attack in Arsenal. So if they Codex us, how bad is that for us? I don't think it's that bad. But we just don't do it anyways. So let's go ahead and do what here? We can play out ring. No, we can't play out ring and healing potion because these are both no-go against sources, which is rough. Yeah, maybe it's just. Oh wait, I forgot this has piercing too. Maybe that's still fine though. Maybe we just de-react this. You also sink a channel and not get rid of the arsenal. I feel like there are a lot of options here. Maybe we sink the channel and don't get rid of the arsenal. Okay, I think blue is actually kind of okay here. Then we'll go ahead and root bound this, I think. All right, decompose. Let's get rid of Arc Skin, Pulsing, and then Nourishing, just get rid of our attack. Seems pretty alright. Alright, Mark of the Funnel Web is a little bit scary. So we might be getting punished here for this, but like worst case scenario, we're losing a healing potion, which is not the end of the world. So we will try to react this if they have react in Arsenal. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, they do have the Razor's Edge. That's okay, I think. So that means we just play a Ring of Roses, pitch the healing pot, and then Arsenal Shelter, and we're still kind of okay. Yeah, maybe that crown usage was bad if we knew they were on Mark of the Funnel Web. But I think we basically had like 2 options there. We play around Mark of the Funnel Web or like Leave No, or we play around Codex. I think playing around Codex is maybe better. I would get the ring online finally. It's a little bit late for that though. Because they can kind of just deny us value here if they want to. Oh, they're going to let us get the life though. It's pretty good. All right, we will deal some arcane damage. All right, feels pretty good to have the ring out. That's great. And then we have Shelter and Arsenal to block some stuff. So that's also good as well. All right, Mark the Prey. So we have React, so we're never going to die to this. Like, they don't have a way to give it go again, realistically. Like, they may have just have, like, pumps or whatever. So I guess, like, what is the most efficient thing we can do on our turn? It's probably just, like, block etchings and then maybe react whatever they do. and then we send out Nourishing, Arsenal Rampant. Seems pretty alright. Could also just like save the etchings, get rid of the Nourishing. It's I think pretty close. Let's block with etchings and see what happens though. I think notably we had to banish a Sigil of Earth early on, so the etchings is not necessarily that good. Alright, so they're going to Stains of the Red back. And Stains of the Red back. Okay. So we go to 6, and then what do we do? If they have Codex, so we just block the Leave No Witnesses. I think the only thing I'm afraid of right now is Codex. If they don't Codex, what do we do? We can not Heartbeat. It gets a little awkward because if they don't Codex, then our turn is a little bit bad. Yeah, but maybe it's fine to just like IP with Rampant. I don't know. I think this is like not actually that bad for us. I think here we're just going to try to play around Codex and... Okay, no Codex, but that's not the end of the world, I don't think. Alright, definitely feels a little bit weird. They're also choosing not to Arsenal. Very interesting. Could also Heartbeat, Pitch Nourishing, Pitch Rampant to Waning Moon. Is that better? Definitely gives us a little bit more padding. Huh. It's kind of interesting here. I think I'm still going to go for the Nourishing, though. Alright, so we get him down to 6. We draw 5-card hands. I think this is still fine for us. It's a little bit weird, but don't think it's that bad. I'd say re-equip Dagger. They hit. That's fine. We could actually potentially go for like a kill on them this turn, depending on what they do. Could also like mental block. Let's I guess go ahead and mental block, or sorry, we'll play the side of mental block that lets us block 2 on this. Right, go ahead and mental block this, so we take 1 from it, which knocks off the mark. They have their dagger back, and they also have Tarantula, which is kind of interesting. All right, and they're just gonna pass. So now we have fruit. I guess we're just felling them, right? All right, discard the fruit to the ability so that we're at least threatening the ring. Or no, sorry, we're not threatening the ring. We're threatening the ring off burdens, right? That's how it works. So yes, we will have a deal arcane damage. We're playing a little bit inefficiently here, but like so are they. So maybe it's fine. All right, we also get the ring trigger, which is good. And then we just get to felling them. We do have to bottom the rampant, but maybe that's okay. And then we're still just sitting on the shelter in case they want to try to go for like the kill or whatever. All right, we'll decompose. Let's grab fruit. Root bound. Nourishing? How many nourishings? We have 1 nourishing left. And they kind of have to block this unless they want to like just die to arcane damage. But then if we have something to send on there, like this might be the opportunity to kind of use Storm Striders here. Oh, it seems like they just scooped it up. Okay, interesting. So I'm curious, they have a red in hand. They have Mark of Black Widow. We're not marked, so they can flick a dagger at us. Mark of Black Widow stains. And then what are we drawing into? Our hand that we're drawing into is not actually that good. We can like heartbeat. Like, yeah, this hand's actually like terrible. But we also like did not see a ton of a root bound, so maybe we just don't kill him this turn and instead like kill him on a future turn. I feel like we actually like did a pretty good job that game. I think the biggest misplay was probably like blocking with the fruits of the forest instead of discarding it so that we can turn on that nourishing earlier. But I feel like otherwise we could like kind of played it pretty well. I'm kind of curious if they like, assuming like we don't draw this hand, right? Because we can't kill them obviously off this hand next turn. But if they like I don't know if they have to like pop their widow crawlers or like something. I feel like we normally would probably like win this game. Like we still have a lot of threats left in the deck. We have like the felling, the nourishing. We have etching. Like we have a bunch of stuff that we can still send at them. So I feel like I'll take this as a win, anyways. All right, let's see if we can get another. All right, we've got a Boltyn. Stonewall Gauntlet's actually pretty good against Boltyn. We'll probably grab the Millennium Tree as well. So I don't know what this matchup's going to be like. Probably don't need our Scours and our Summers Falls. And then what else do we not need? Probably not Calming Breeze either. Seems a little bit too cute. Maybe similar thing with the Mental Block. Just like, I don't think the prevention actually matters all that much against Boltyn. Maybe we just run something like this. It seems vaguely correct. Yeah, let's try it like this. Crown is actually maybe worse than Plume here, for what it's worth. We've got Charge a Light Brigade. +3 on the next attack we charge. Okay, and charging this to get a Courage token. Seems pretty good. I feel like we're just going to block 8 on this. And if they want to react and give it go again, I think we're probably fine with that. I think we just want to fill our graveyard here. And we're not filling it with an attack, notably, which is also good. So I think here, play out Sigil. We could also like pitch stack Sigil. I wonder if that's correct. Send Nourishing, pitch stack Sigil. I feel like just getting the first Sigil on is probably like fine though. And then let's send a Nourishing here, Arsenal to Rootbound, just so we're like kind of fueling towards Decompose. We're probably not going to connect with this, but maybe we get some armor out of them, which is good. They're also on no AB. So this game might be pretty quick depending on like what happens, but I think maybe no AB for Boltyn is maybe correct. Just because you're running a ton of yellows anyways, like, are you realistically gonna be able to AB? Kind of expected a little bit of Spell Void at least, but maybe not. Alright, go in Arsenal the Rootbound. Alright, pretty nice hand from us here. We can Rootbound, banish. We can get the full Rootbound. That's good. And then you can tree, pitch the Rampant Growth for later, and then like Arsenal the other Rootbound. Seems like a pretty good turn. Alright, no blocks on the Take Flight. I think that's fine. Ooh, we got a Lumina. Okay. Lumina is fine here, though. Can actually Stonewall this, can we? This defensive attack with greater than space opposing attack to get +/-1, so they close the combat chain. Do that. I don't really want to give him Soul. Let's block here. We can block with blue Rootbound. Then on the next thing they would hit. So maybe we're just giving them Soul here anyways. I don't think it actually matters all that much. I say we'll give go again. Let's go ahead and try to deny a little bit of Soul here. Let's like Rootbound, then maybe play the blue one, and maybe we just go off an Arsenal. I think that's kind of okay. Alright, banish the Nourishing, and then we'll play out the other Rootbound. But I think we're still just developing out Tree on our turn. Right, so they can on hit get a Courage. So maybe we should have actually blocked. I didn't see they had a resource floating, so maybe we should have blocked the second one instead. But that's still okay, I think. I don't think this is the end of the world. But yeah, that's I think that's my fault for not recognizing they had one floating. They had Take Flight. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Alright, so they get the Iron Sog trigger. Pretty alright. Alright, let's develop our tree and then send the Waning Moon in. Get a nice little chunk of damage, get to bottom that, and keep the tree around, and we see a nice little Ring of Roses as well. So play this turn. There's not really a way to easily keep the tree around, unfortunately, but I think that's not necessary. Probably just block with like Plow Under this turn, and then like play Ring of Roses, pitch Emeritus to get some value there, and then Arsenal the Rootbound. Seems pretty good to me. Right, so we're using our Tunic for Take Flight, sure. So this will already have go again, so there's no real point in blocking here, so we'll pass. Right, so then we have Iron Song. Sure. Right, coming in for 3. So I think whenever attacks you control. So maybe we root bound this and then just Arsenal Plow Under instead. Maybe that's actually better. Do we have we do have the ability to root bound. That's pretty good. So yeah, I think we'll just try to deny the Courage token here. They have a Snatch to follow this up. It gets a little bit weird. I have seen a bit of Snatch and Boltyn recently. But we get halfway to Decompose, which I think I'm pretty happy with. Right, Tree is unfortunately going away, but that's okay. Let the let the Ring of Roses resolve just so we get the life gain. And then we'll Arsenal our Plow Under and pass back. Right, so we have another tree, but no good way to really use our tree. Alright, so we have a Beaming Bravado. Pretty solid. Yeah, no blocks on this, I think. Alright, so they're going to activate Boltyn. That's A-okay with me. Alright, and the Beacon coming in as well. Sure, not too bad. We can actually just go ahead and try to block this out and make them kind of a little bit soul-starved. Like maybe block Barkskin, block with Tree, and then we also block with like Pulsing Aether on the next thing. It seems like a pretty good use of Barkskin, to me, at least. So we'll get Gogan on this, but then we can starve them for Soul on the next thing. Then we get to play a Plow Under, and then we also get to like Arsenal Sigil. Seems pretty good to me, especially if they're keeping Arsenal here, which it looks like they are. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab that Plow, decompose it, and let's get Tree, Root Bound, Tree, I guess. Alright, Arsenal Sigil, pass back. Alright, no decompose this hand, but that's okay. Charge of Light Brigade is also not a card I've seen a ton of. Maybe it's just a consistency thing. That kind of makes sense. How are we blocking here? It's kind of inefficient, but I do want to maybe try to send like Destructive plus like this just to get some ring value, but maybe that's like too greedy. We also just double block with Destructives, and then if they want to like pump over, maybe we're fine with that. Like we just shelter it or something. Sure. Oh, they're gonna grab Spirit. Interesting. I guess now we'll just use the ability on this. Sure. Seems okay. Then you just get to play their Raiden, play their Spirit and whatever. I think that's kind of fine with me. We can also just like go ahead and block with, or I guess blocking with fruits is actually losing us life if we do that. So let's not do that. So let them hit with the Raiden and then play out Irina. I think that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and discard the fruits. We're not going to get a ping yet because we're one off of the decompose count, fortunately. But maybe we found the way to decompose on this hand. It's also funny, we might be able to try to use Stonewall here if they go for something that's like just one under the Stonewall. Ooh, they do have a Spellbane Aegis token. It's kind of cool. Right, so this does the base of 3, so we can't actually reduce it to the point where they will get go again, or they'll lose the go again. So maybe this is actually like a fine turn to use Barkskin. Like block like this. And we can just block with the Channel Millennium Tree on whatever they do next. Seems pretty efficient. To me, at least. It's maybe not necessary, but feels like a pretty decent use of Barkskin. Alright, we have Raiden coming in for 5. We'll block with the tree. Nah, I think we're just gonna send the felling at them. I'm not gonna use Sigil this turn in case we like draw into a rampant, because I think we still have 3 of them in the deck. I think we pitched one of them earlier when we had that tree turn. Let's banish a plow, a fruit, and then we don't have any other attack actions, right? So we should be safe here. Let's just go ahead and banish tree. I guess I don't think it really matters. We don't have plume, so I don't think there's really any way to like recur stuff. All right, we still have the sigil in arsenal, which is good. We have a ring out. We are just drawing into pellings. Things are looking pretty good, honestly. Beaming Bravado, charging a red. What does that mean? I think that means I don't care. Sure, they can snap this and like give it go again, but like I don't think there's a real reason to try to block that. Right, coming with the Raiden. Still don't think there's a real reason to block. If they have a Lumina to flash in, then we can just block with the shelter. It's weird that I called that. Banish next time target. What does this card do? Target rating gets +2. Discard this banish X card from your soul. Okay, that's just the Enigma thing, right? Yeah. So I guess we don't want to shelter this. We may want to shelter on the next swing of it. Oh wait, they're not giving this go again. Oh, they don't need to give it go again, right? Because they have an action point. Sure. So I think that's fine. We can block with fruits. Or no, we don't want to block with fruits. We want to block with maybe Stonewall plus shelter. Seems like pretty efficient coverage. Then we can like discard the fruit, do some stuff. Yeah, it seems good. We'll get the Stonewall value here, just for a breakpoint. And it denies them a soul, so I think that's probably worth it. All right, go ahead and discard the fruits here, and then we'll just send a felling at them. We also get a ring value, which is good. Oh, they popped the Spellbane, sure. So we don't actually get ring value here, but that's okay. Let's banish Destructive, I guess. Save a little bit of Earth cards in case we need it for later Decompose. But I think we're in a pretty good spot here. We probably should not be running Crown. We should probably be running Plume, but the block on Crown is like fine. All right, so we have one attack and banish, so we can root bound that way if we want to develop out Nourishing. I think we probably do want to do that. All right, coming in for 3. That's fine with me. Then Raiden for 3. They're all out of Luminas for what it's worth, I think, right? So see what this is. If they don't want to give go again, then we will try to root bound this, I think. And do we want to decompose? Yes, we do, because we want to play the Nourishing. Spanish the Felling, Bark Skin, and then Destructive. We'll leave 2 Earth cards in there in case we need them. Let's go ahead and play the Sigil, just so that we have like the Etching Star Soul. Have them be dealt arcane damage. Yep, seems pretty good. And then we'll play out the Nourishing. Nourishing feels so good to get off, by the way. Just a really, I think it like, I don't know if this is like the correct way to play Verdance, but it feels like just a very solid card in this deck. At least from like, I'm not a Verdance player. I don't have like, the hundreds of hours needed to be a Verdance expert. Those poor 3 people who play Verdance. But the deck seems like just pretty solid. All right, we get all of their armor here, and they also get a tunic counter out of them. I'm kind of okay with this. We might be able to just kill them on their turn, depending on what we draw. All right, looks like they're letting the Nourishing hit here. Seems pretty good for me. popping our warband here. What do they charge? They charge a banneret. They pitched that. Wait, do they charge anything? What do they charge? Did they charge anything? Oh, is it the next time? The next time you attack this turn, you charge. So you don't actually charge from the ability. Okay, that makes sense. Sure. So I think we're fine with the spellbinding Aegis here. Now we have plenty of reacts here, so I don't think there's a real reason to block. Again, they're out of Lumina, so they maybe have like the War Cries, I guess, as like a Raiden buff, but like they can't actually swing with it multiple times unless I'm missing something here. All right, we'll take the Raiden. Now, let's see what the follow-up is. All right, Express Lightning, no charge. So I don't think they have a way to give this go again, right? So I think we'll just pass on this. Like, we should just be able to kill them with like Heartbeat on our turn. Oh, they're gonna use Tunic to do what? Oh, sure, they can pump it that way. Sure. So I guess we will just root bound this. Right, Spanish or Pulsing Ether, Nourishing. All right, pass back. And then let's just do a big Heartbeat. Should just kill here. Ping, ping, ping. Right, get our ring. And I think we pretty much got it here, but let's go ahead and just play our Rampant for fun. Oops, sorry. We don't want to play the Waning Wave for fun. We want to play the Rampant for fun. It's more disrespectful to kill with a Rampant afterwards. Oh, they do have a Slap Happy, so they're still dead, but maybe some hope to be in it if they have like multiple Slap Happies. See how many Slap Happies they actually had. Yeah, sure. Okay. Sure. Okay. They want to die that way. Makes sense. So they did have another Slap Happy for what it's worth. What is Late Arrest? When this hits a hero, you may turn... When this attacks the Shadow Hero... Oh my god, they had Verdance deck. Insane. This is a card that exists. When this hits a hero, you may turn a card in their banished zone face down. Wow. This person came prepared. Damn. I wish I had this level of commitment to Boltyn. That's pretty... That's actually kind of sick tack. I have to... Game, respect game. You know what I mean? All right, yeah, I think that's probably going to wrap it up for today. So this was our third trades list. Again, not an F-tier deck, but a deck that I'm considering maybe playing after Zen. It kind of depends how like the meta shakes out and whatever, but I don't know. It's I've been having a lot of fun with this deck like on my own. So figure I might as well take an F-tier Fridays to kind of play this deck. It's I don't know if it's good. It's like you can definitely beat players with this deck, and it's doing some very strong things, but like I don't know. I don't know. I'm not convinced that this is like an S tier deck or anything, right? I think it's like maybe like an A or B tier deck. But yeah, previously in F tier Fridays, maybe it's now in C or D or B tier or whatever. But I don't know. Like this hero is definitely like playable. Just I don't know. Competitively viable. Like how competitively viable it is. But like putting up some solid results. So I have to respect it there at least. All right, but I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.